What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. Now today I wanted to bring to you a video discussing how to beat DDD. If you haven't already seen it, I just released a video as an introduction to DDD because now that the Pendulum Domination Structure deck is out, you know, the deck is at full power, and if you're playing this game on any sort of competitive level, it's going to be a deck that you're going to have to go up against. So I wanted to make this video as an extension of that to pretty much tell you what cards you can use to side against it or play even in your main deck to help your chances against DDD. Now, as you guys know, I like to break this down into several different sections. So the first section I'm going to cover is hand traps, and I feel like hand traps are probably the best way to handle this deck because a lot of the hand traps that we currently have at our disposal are very effective with dealing with DDD. Now, the best one is probably Max C because the deck does an insane amount of special summoning, and if you can drop Max C very early on, especially if the deck's going first and you're going second, Max C can pretty much put a halt to everything that they're going to do, and it's going to put you in a much more favorable and advantageous position because if they're going to go off, they're either going to give you a ton of cards or they're going to leave themselves with a very lackluster board. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit's also really good as well because it's a hard counter to Dark Contract with the Gate, which is the deck's main searcher, and more often than not, if you hit Dark Contract with the Gate with a Ghost Ogre, sometimes they don't have the combo pieces needed in their hand to perform their insane combos, and their turn could flat out end just right there. Now moving on, there's also Effect Veiler. Using Effect Veiler can stop pretty much the massive chain of special summoning, but mainly hitting Flame King Genghis is the biggest one because that's the one that can be abused and kind of chains all the summons together and kind of gets all the combo pieces going, but hitting any of the ones that's going to special summon from grave can kind of put a halt to the combo right in its tracks. And then there's also DD Crow as well. You know, DD Crow being able to banish something like their Lamia or anything that's being targeted by something by like Flame Genghis or the Ragnarok or anything like that is really key and can again just stop their combo just like Effect Veiler. So having that sort of removal in a hand trap can be really effective going second. And you know, if you draw them against the deck, if you're going first, you have that either way. So it's a very good going first and going second option. Now, moving on to the Kaiju-esque monsters, because there are several of them, but the Kaijus are very important because being able to tribute over their insane boss monsters like 38, like Siegfried, like Crystal Wing is very important in allowing you to be able to continue playing with your deck, especially if they go first and create a massive board. So Kaijus are obviously, you know, pretty much the end-all be-all when it comes to just one-card answers. There's also something like Lava Golem, though, as well, because a lot of the times, if you look at some of the crazy boards that the deck can produce, Lava Golem is good at taking away 2 monsters, and usually you only need to take away 2 specific monsters in order to continue playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if they have a 38 and a Siegfried and a Crystal Wing, you know, there's only 2 cards that negate spells, so Lava Golem can handle both of them, then you can, like, Regeki the board, or vice versa when it comes to needing to use a monster effect. So, really, Lava Golem can sometimes be the answer. The biggest drawback with Lava Golem is you can't normal summon or set the turn you summon him, so you're pretty much taking that out, so it's a very big trade-off, but getting rid of 2 monsters is significant compared to 1. And then if 2 isn't enough, you could also go up to 3 and play Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere mode. Now, the benefit with Sphere mode is that if you have a way to enable an additional normal summon, like, say, Gemknight Seraphonite, then Sphere mode will allow you to clear 3 of their monsters, and then also have an additional normal summon on top of that, something that Lava Golem pretty much prevents. And then on top of that, you are getting rid of 3 monsters, but that can also be a drawback, because if they don't have 3 monsters, you can't summon Sphere mode. So, between the Kaijus, Lava Golem, and Sphere mode, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and really just depends on the kind of deck that you're playing, and how you want to best handle these threats, which is going to work best for you. Now, moving on from there, we also have Floodgates. You know, we're moving into format where Floodgates are pretty much just king. Dimensional Barrier is arguably like one of the best cards of the format because it can just, it's pretty much Vanity's Emptiness that can't be MST'd, so that's really strong. Being able to call Fusion to stop, you know, the Genghis play, Synchro to stop Siegfried, or XC to stop like Kali Yuga or 38 is just insane. And Vanity's Emptiness is good too because if they don't have the Orthros, then you pretty much stop their turn entirely. But then there's also cards like Artifact Scythe that pretty much lock out the extra deck entirely as well. So it's not, albeit it's not a Floodgate trap card, it's a Floodgate monster that pretty much can ensure you're going to get another turn to continue moving forward in the game. And then there's also Vanity's Fiend as well. The deck actually doesn't have a main deck out to Vanity's Fiend, funny enough, so unless they're playing something like a Dark Hole Regeki in the main deck, but typically more often than not, they want to dedicate those spaces for combo pieces to combo big and try to protect and ensure their turn 1 board goes off. So Vanity's Fiend can be surprisingly effective if you're going first. The biggest problem with any Floodgate, so as always, is that if you're not going first, then you're going to be very vulnerable, and drawing these cards might be a little bit too late. But last but not least, I also want to talk about cards that just banish cards from the graveyard. I already mentioned DD Crow as a hand trap, but there's also cards, you know, like Different Dimension Ground, which, albeit is very good against DDD, is also going to be good against Zodiacs as well, and any graveyard-reliant based deck, because since the deck is so reliant on the graveyard and the recursion plays that it makes, if you can banish those cards with something like Different Dimension Ground, then they're not going to have any fodder to be able to combo off and continue with their play. Same goes for something like Masked Hero Darklaw. Totally Awesome Totally Awesome Heroes is still a very formidable deck in the meta, so you know, you're already playing Darklaw, and being able to banish all of their combo pieces pretty much puts them at a very significant disadvantage. Even if they do eventually deal with the Darklaw, they're going to be playing from behind tremendously compared to where you're going to be. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. I really hope this gives you an idea of what you can use against DDD. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite cards are to use against DDD, whether it's on my list or any options that you have on your own. I'd really love to hear it, and I think we'd all like to hear some of your really cool tech options as well. So thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and be sure to back me on Patreon, because by pledging $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thank you guys so much again. We'll see you next time.